This is the film that deserves to be in the Criterion collection, a true masterpiece of independent cinema, and a true artistic expressionist film. The Adventures of Food Boy, starring Lucas Grabeel of High School Musical fame. Hello, welcome to Adam's Reviews. It is episode 20. I have 20 subscribers. It only took 12. It took 7 months, but we're there. We're at the big old fat 20. And I thought I would do a Criterion collection video because I love Criterions and I guess I collect them. And I own a few, as you can see. I have 2 off to the side right here that I'll show you first. FYI, they aren't organized alphabetically or anything. Like, they're not organized. But I think I have a cool looking setup right here. And so if you hear the chair I'm sitting in creaking a little bit, that's just what the chair does. So let's get started off right away with Christopher Nolan's debut film, Following. I talked about it on my Christopher Nolan video, but that's a pretty terrible video. So right here I'll just say it's pretty good. The only reason I like it as much as I do is because it's inspiring as somebody who doesn't have money to make a full-blown movie. It's always cool to see something as low budget like this turn out, good. But yeah, I enjoy it. I'm not a Nolan fanboy, but I enjoy it. Tenet sucked, but this is pretty good. Next up, we have the 1954 classic starring Marlon Brando in maybe one of his most famous roles, On the Waterfront. This is a fantastic movie. Solid 8 out of 10, probably. I have a few minor flaws with it, but overall, it's a fantastic film. This is a great release. It looks fantastic. Yeah, Marlon Brando gives one of the best performances maybe ever. The scene shot on the rooftop looked gorgeous. But yeah, if you like film, specifically classic films, definitely check this one out. It's pretty good. Now we're gonna get into the shelf, which has most of the good stuff. I would say pretty much all of these movies are some of my favorite films of all time. I haven't seen only 2 of them. I've seen all of the other ones though. But yeah, we're gonna get into it right now with one of their best releases, in my opinion. The Before trilogy. Yeah, these are 3 fantastic movies. My favorite would have to be Sunset. But yeah, this is a really cool case. Yeah, Ethan Hawke and Julie Delpy are absolutely fantastic in these films. And I feel like the cinematography is never talked about as much on these. Like, Before Sunset is a beautiful movie. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Before Sunset, I'd go check it out if I were you. Of course, watch the first one, but the best one, in my opinion anyway, is the second one. It's a flawless movie, the second one. And anything that could make the characters dislikable, it's just written so well, and the characters themselves are so charming, it's hard not to love them. Before Midnight is definitely the weakest one, but it's still fantastic. I'd say it's about on par with the first one. But yeah, one of my favorite trilogies, probably. Yeah, really good. Definitely worth checking out. Next up, we have the Criterion that everybody has, Seven Samurai. This is a really good movie. Yeah, the main highlight of this movie to me, and the thing that just, like, of course, all the technical stuff, but it's a 3.5 hour movie. Like, that is a long time, and this movie is never dull once, like, at all. It's super exciting, really good. I think there are flaws, one or 2 flaws, not a lot of them, but I don't know if I would call it a 100% perfect movie, but it's definitely a 9 out of 10 for me. I think it's really fantastic. You all should go watch it if you haven't. Seven Samurai. And it's spine number 2. I know no one cares about it, but I care about it. I shouldn't have to talk about this one too long. It is Stalker, which is probably my favorite film of all time. Beautiful, beautiful film. I already talked about it a lot, but it's just such an emotional, fantastic, deep experience, and no one could ever do this film justice. As much as somebody may try, and as much as I might try, no one on the planet Earth can do this film justice. Please go watch Stalker. Next up, we have a film I actually haven't seen, Rosemary's Baby. Rosemary's Baby came out 1968, is directed by Roman Polanski. I have not seen this film. I don't know how, but I haven't. I'm very excited to watch it, of course. But yeah, it looks fantastic. I'm very, very excited to see it. I hear a ton about it. It inspired Hereditary, which doesn't sound surprising at all. And, yeah, Rosemary's Baby, spine 630. Sorry, just gotta rearrange some crap. Fantastic Planet, or La Planète Sauvage. This movie rocks. That sounded terrible, but this movie's fantastic. It's better than all that stupid Pixar crap. This movie is, put it on, if you have speakers, use speakers so you can hear the fantastic funk soundtrack, and just absorb yourself in the world of the film, because it is insane. It's so well animated. The messages are just so well done. I wish the director, Rene, I'm not going to pronounce his last name right, French, but I wish he made more feature films. He made a few short films, which I actually checked out, because 2 of them come with the release, which is pretty cool, and they're fantastic. I would have loved to see another movie by him, because this is one of the most creative, entertaining, strange movies ever. It's such an interesting trip. It really is fantastic. If you haven't seen Fantastic Planet, it's only like an hour and 12 minutes. Go watch it. It's really good. Now we're going to talk about probably my second or third favorite film ever, and that is Ghost World. Ghost World is tied with, like, Scott Pilgrim as my second favorite. I might like Ghost World more, to be honest. I love both, though. Anyway, Ghost World came out 2001 and is directed by Terry Zwigoff. I need to check out Crumb, which also looks great. But yeah, this movie, I absolutely adore this film. I've seen it so many times. It's so relatable, so funny. I love all the characters. It has Steve Buscemi's best performance, in my opinion. And Tora Birch and Scarlett Johansson are fantastic. It's incredibly well written, well shot, just all across the board. And like I said, objectively, I wouldn't call it the best film ever made, but it's maybe tied with Stalker for me. It's just really personal to me. I really enjoy it. Ghost World, I think it's on Amazon Prime right now in the US, so because there are a lot of people that don't like it, so I recommend checking it out on Amazon before buying it, because it's definitely more acquired taste. Now we're going to talk about yet another film I really love that's in my top 15 probably. Frances Ha. Frances Ha is directed by Noah Baumbach and is written by Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig. And the film stars Greta Gerwig, and that's all I'm going to say, because it is amazing. This movie just makes me so happy every time I watch it. I love it so much. It's endlessly rewatchable. It's so well written, and it's one of the only movies to really pull off digital black and white and really look fantastic. But yeah, if you haven't seen Frances Ha, it's really like everybody would like. Frances Ha's one of those movies that I could show anybody, and chances are is that they would enjoy it. It's very well done, very accessible, and yeah, Frances Ha. I think it's on Netflix in the U.S. at the moment, so watch it on there. The only Michael Haneke movie I own. I've seen another film of him, from him, The Seventh Continent, which was great, very upsetting, but fantastic. Funny Games, another favorite film of mine, even though I'm probably gonna say that a lot. Funny Games is probably my favorite thriller of all time. Came out 1997. I have not seen the American remake. I hear some people say it's better, some people prefer the original. Either way, I'm super excited to watch it. I just love everything about this movie. It's one of those few movies that when I watched it, it really changed how I viewed film and how you can structure a thriller and what's the point of violence in film, and we love it so much, and it's really Michael Haneke just making fun of it and also making one of the best films ever made, in my opinion. Funny Games, don't know if it's streaming anymore and anywhere, but you should go watch it. It's one of my favorite films. So now we're gonna get into my tiny David Lynch thing I got going on right here. FYI, my favorite film of his is Blue Velvet, but I don't own Blue Velvet because I haven't gotten the chance to rebuy it on Criterion. I own the standard Blu-ray somewhere over there. FYI. Same with Wes Anderson. I own most of his movies on Criterion, but a few of them, like Fantastic Mr. Fox and such, I don't own yet. Excuse me. Mulholland Drive. I don't think this one needs any introduction, especially if you love Criterion. You've most likely seen this movie or own it. This is another movie that really changed how I view film when I first watched it. It has always been a big fascination of mine. It really is, it's such a nightmare. I can't describe it. I'm probably more likely to recommend this to somebody than Blue Velvet. I don't know why. Because this is definitely a bit more confusing, especially when you get into the second act. I mean, I don't think it's like one of the strangest movies ever, but the second act is definitely where people get confused. But there are a few videos on the internet you can watch and can clear it up if you need an explanation. But yeah, my favorite movie of his is Blue Velvet, but this definitely comes really close. It is. It's a fantastic movie. Now, we're going to talk about the other film I have not seen yet. I'm very excited to see it because I love the show, but Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. I absolutely adore Twin Peaks. I haven't watched the limited series thing. I'm asking for it for Christmas, though. I hope I get to check it out. But Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Don't have too much to say about it other than I'm incredibly excited to watch it. Like I said, I absolutely love the show. It is, David Lynch has such a way with creating these unique, surreal worlds, and he's just such an interesting artist, and I love everything I've seen from him. Yeah. Keep in mind I haven't seen a ton of things from him, but I've seen a ton of his short films, and I have enjoyed them all. My least favorite probably being What Did Jack Do or something like that with the monkey. It's still good, but it's definitely missing that like tone that I love so much about him. But yeah, Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me. Very excited to watch it. The last David Lynch movie I own, and probably his most accessible, but it's still fantastic. The Elephant Man came out 1980, yeah. The funny thing about this is you wouldn't expect somebody to go from Eraserhead to Elephant Man, but he went from Eraserhead to Elephant Man. He went from this crazy, surreal, independent film to this bigger, more accessible type of film, but it's still fantastic. I would still give it a 9 out of 10. The performances here are great. David Lynch really does a great job with the camera here. And you'd expect a movie like this to not be unique at all, you know, because he's working with a bigger studio, but I'd argue that it is super unique and still super Lynchian, even though it's not as obvious as it usually is. Specifically near the dream scenes throughout the film, there's a few of them, and they're really interesting and probably the most Lynch part of the film, but there still are little hints of him here and there. A lot of things that remind me of Twin Peaks, weirdly, but this is a really fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it yet, go watch it. This is another super accessible movie. It's really sad, really good. Yeah. Elephant Man, probably one of my favorites. My only Jean-Luc Godard film I own, Breathless. I really like this movie. I would give it an 8 out of 10. First time I watched it, I gave it a 9, contemplating a 10, but I'm gonna wait till I rewatch it to give it that. But this is another fantastic movie. Definitely flawed, but that's almost the point. Like, it's hard to criticize the technical flaws because it just fits the movie so well. So I really can't criticize that. But yeah, Breathless, a movie everyone should watch. It's a classic, even though a lot of people don't like Jean-Luc Godard. It's the only film I've seen from him. I think it's great, but I can understand why someone might not enjoy it. The dialogue in this film is crazy. It's really good, though. There's one scene in an apartment that lasts like half an hour. It's just so well done. But yeah, Breathless. I recommend it, especially if you're into film. Spy number 5. 400 Blows. This is a lot better than Breathless. I would give this probably a 9, maybe a 10. This is a fantastic, fantastic movie. Without this movie, you don't get the masterpiece that is Frances Ha. So you have to thank 400 Blows for that. Yeah, this movie is fantastic. It's really personal, really well done, one of the best child performances ever, and just super sad. I don't have too much to add, since this is definitely the most famous film to come out of the French New Wave. Yeah, French New Wave. Yeah. 400 Blows. I highly recommend it. The only thing I don't like is the last shot of the movie is fantastic, and then there's a freeze frame up to his face, and I guess it's impactful, but it doesn't really look great now. It's just a tiny thing that kind of bothers me. Not a big deal. Now we're going to get into the Kubrick movies. I own every single Kubrick movie on Criterion. So my favorite Kubrick movie, one I've already talked about, but I'll talk about it again because I love it. Barry Lyndon, my 4th favorite film of all time. Probably the only film that will this, Stalker and Ghost World, will definitely forever stay in my top 4. Barry Lyndon is just... I'm so excited to rewatch it, because I think it'll probably end up going up to like my 2nd spot or something. This movie is absolutely mind-blowingly good. I always get so stressed out thinking about making this type of movie and how frustrating and hard it must have been to make something like this. Even with his earlier movies, they're so well done and so complex. It's just crazy to think about having to make a movie like this. And on the realm of Kubrick, the film I want to see a Criterion release most of is Eyes Wide Shut. There needs to be one. In my opinion, it's the 2nd best Kubrick movie, maybe close to being tied with this one. It needs a Criterion release. I need one for Eyes Wide Shut. This is the 2nd Kubrick film. I still haven't seen Fear and Desire. He's my favorite director. I love everything he does. And I know that's a predictable answer, but I genuinely love his style, and whenever I watch one of his films, it just influences me, and I love his style. I love rewatching his movies. I love the stories he chooses to tell, especially later in his career with Eyes Wide Shut. That movie's crazy, but we're not talking about Eyes Wide Shut. We're talking about The Killing. One could argue that this is a weaker Kubrick movie, and I would agree. But it is still a 9 out of 10 for me because it's still fantastic. The scene with the robbery where he puts on the Joker mask, without that, you don't get the opening scene of The Dark Knight, and this is better than The Dark Knight. Sorry, but it is. It has crazy Sterling Hayden in it. There's really nothing to dislike. Just a really classic, fun noir. I've watched it a few times now. But, yeah, The Killing. Go check it out. This is my third favorite Kubrick, also in my top 20. Paths of Glory. Kirk Douglas gives one of the best performances ever in this movie. This movie is just crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Probably my favorite anti-war movie, even though Come and See is a close second. I'd have to say I like Paths of Glory a bit more. Just, this movie's insane. The camera work, the acting, the script, it's so well done. In this movie, a movie like this could come off so Oscar baity or something like that, but it's not. It's genuinely artistic, super well made. Go watch Paths of Glory. It's only an hour and 28 minutes too, which is really short for a Kubrick movie. So you have time to watch it. There's no excuse. You can probably rent it. So go do that. Paths of Glory, 10 out of 10. We get another 10 out of 10 from Kubrick. One of the funniest movies ever made. Dr. Strangelove. Dr. Strangelove is just absolutely hilarious. I consider it a part of what I call like the Stanley Kubrick anti-war trilogy or war trilogy, and you would watch it in this order: Paths of Glory first, Doctor Strangelove second, third Full Metal Jacket. That's the order you would watch it. All three of them are 10 out of 10s though, and this movie is fantastic. You can watch it in the middle kind of to lighten things up a bit. The ending has to be the funniest movie ending ever. Probably one of my favorite movie endings ever. Just, it's Kubrick doing what he does best. And it's a satire, like it's driven by comedy, and it's hilarious. And this is, at least to my knowledge, the only comedy Stanley Kubrick ever directed. So, yeah, another classic. You've probably seen it. If not, go watch it, weirdo. But yeah, Doctor Strangelove, fantastic movie. Another one of my all-time favorite films ever, Election. Election is one of my favorite movies, period. I love this film. I love everything about it. I think it's hilarious. I think all the dramatic things hit. I think it's probably my favorite Matthew Broderick film, even though Ferris Bueller's Day Off is pretty great too. It's the only fantastic movie with Reese Witherspoon, unless you're counting American Psycho, but she's not in that very often, so I don't really ever count that. But Election, one of the funniest, most rewatchable films out there. I highly, highly, highly recommend it. One of the best films of the 90s. My voice is hurting. 12 Angry Men! This one doesn't need an introduction at all. It's a good movie. 9 out of 10. It's good. Don't have anything new to say about it. Go watch it if you haven't. Another all-time favorite film, Inside Llewyn Davis. I love this movie. It's one of the most relatable movies out there. It's fantastic. The cinematography's great. Probably tied with The Big Lebowski, has my favorite Coen Brothers. Yeah, just great. Sad, funny, just a great film. There's a touch of surrealism in there, fantastic score and soundtrack. And you would expect me not to enjoy the movie as much because I don't listen to that much folk music. But I don't know, it still hits really hard. I might add this to my top 10 one day. I really love this movie. Uh, yeah, it's great. It's one of those films that I weirdly got emotional for, even though it's not particularly the saddest film ever. But I don't know. It's just really personal to me. Go watch it if you haven't. Next up, we have another classic, the Safdie brothers' favorite film, Bicycle Thieves. Another film I don't have too much new to say about it. I like it more than 12 Angry Men. But it inspired Master of None season 2, which is one of the best seasons of TV ever. So, Bicycle Thieves, go watch it if you haven't. It's definitely worth your time. Next up, we have a film that I've rewatched a ton, and then I realized this is one of my all-time favorite movies, and that is Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou. This film, I love Wes Anderson. This is my second favorite film of his. I know, like, first it's Fantastic Mr. Fox, and then I kept on rewatching this, and it's just, there's something so fantastic about it, so wonderful, so sad, so funny. This movie literally has everything in it, and I don't even know how you couldn't enjoy it. Like, go watch it. It's perfect. It's a 10 out of 10, 20 out of 10, 100 out of 10. Love Wes Anderson. Oh, God. Ugh. The Royal Tenenbaums. Love this movie. I've also rewatched it a bunch because it's my boy Wes. Wes Anderson's my second favorite director behind Stanley Kubrick, and then probably like I don't know. Maybe Edgar Wright or Charlie Kaufman. Royal Tenenbaums. Another film I don't think I need to make a big introduction for, as it's pretty famous already, but it's hilarious, super rewatchable, like I said. Gene Hackman's fantastic in it. Just the usual from Wes Anderson. My all-time favorite Wes Anderson movie, and God, whenever I think about Rushmore, it somehow becomes my favorite movie of all time all over again. My most rewatched film. I've seen this film more than any other movie. Yeah, I wish Letterboxd let me pick more than 4 as my 4 favorites, because this is tied with Stalker probably, and I only have like top 4 because I like having solidified spots. Like, I wouldn't have the film that's tied with Stalker has my number 2 because it's tied with number 1. But yeah, this is also I'm just gonna say this is also my favorite film. Rushmore. Jason Schwartzman's in it, and he's fantastic in it. And Bill Murray is fantastic in it. And it's super great. Bottle Rocket. You know what? I'm just gonna say it. This is more underrated than Life Aquatic. I like a Life Aquatic more, but in my opinion, this is more underrated. Bottle Rocket. One of the films that really pushed me to want to make films, and just such an inspiring movie, because it's people that didn't have a ton of money. They made a short film, they had it at a film festival, and it was super great, so they got financing and were able to make a fantastic feature-length film out of it. Yeah. Super rewatchable. The perfect November movie. If you want to watch a movie in November, Rushmore is more of an October, September, still November type of movie, but this is a quintessential November movie in my opinion. Probably one of the most underrated movies ever is Time Bandits. Terry Gilliam, one of my favorite directors. We'll get to my favorite film of his in a minute. Yeah, Time Bandits. It's hilarious. Great science fic. No, great fantasy. Film. Really imaginative. Sean Connery's best movie in my opinion. R.I.P. Yeah, don't have too much to say because I really want to finish this video. But yeah, fantastic set design. 9 out of 10, maybe a 10, maybe. I'll have to watch it again. Yeah, I love this movie. Go watch it. Fantastic. It has midgets time traveling. Don't know what that was, but being John Malkovich. I need that criterion of adaptation. We do. We need a criterion of adaptation. And I pre-ordered and I rewatched adaptation on the Shout release. It was good, but there were no special features, and I would love to see a Criterion release of adaptation. But being John Malkovich is just as good, so I'm okay with that. Another movie I've rewatched a ton. Just Charlie Kaufman is my favorite person. He's my favorite person. I love Charlie Kaufman. And since Criterion's doing a ton of Netflix movies lately, I would love, and I'm thinking of Ending Things release. That definitely needs to happen. Okay, guys, we're almost done, even though no one has watched to the end. Persona in this humongous box. Persona is a weird movie. It is a very surreal movie. This might be the most surreal film I've ever seen. Like, at points, I might say maybe Fantastic Planet, or maybe even, something like Being John Malkovich. But Persona takes the cake. I thought it was great, but I definitely need to see it again before I say any solidified thoughts. I think the imagery is fantastic, but I definitely have to rewatch it to really get a hold of everything. I understand it, but I don't understand all the deeper messages within it. Come and see! One of the best films ever made. Yeah, Come and See is a sad, upsetting movie, but it is very good, and I recommend everybody watch this movie at least once. This is one of those movies where you're watching it and you're just like, how did they make this? How did people make this? It's an insane film. It's crazy to think that a person could make this. It's so masterful and so well done, and the performances just feel so authentic and real. And I'm just gonna say it's the scariest film ever, in my opinion. I'm gonna rewatch it again because the filmmaking on Hold's just too fantastic. But it's a horrifying, beautiful movie. Come and See is just such a ride. Yeah, definitely a great one. 10 out of 10. Perfect film. Yeah, honestly, it's a perfect movie. One of the very few movies that I would say is perfect. On the level of a Kubrick film. And yeah, this movie's insane. They used actual live ammo and while they were shooting the film, and it got really close to the actor's head when they were filming. And I don't want to go on repeating myself too long, but it's just insane that this film even got made. Like, no one could get this made today. Like, especially with and I'm not saying this is bad, you should treat your actors good. But, yeah, something like this would not be able to be made today. Okay, so the final film of my collection, in my top 10, Brazil! Brazil. The best Christmas film ever made. This or Eyes Wide Shut. I love both a lot, so I couldn't say which one I like more. But they're both really good. Brazil is such an imaginative, entertaining, deep, creative film. There's no other movie like it. There's no single other film like Brazil. I dare you to even try. You might be able to say another Terry Gilliam film, but I'd say this is a lot different than something like Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. Yeah, this is a 10. An easy 10. Probably my favorite film of the 80s. Yeah. I might have to think. Nah, I might have to think about that, but yeah. My favorite film of the 1980s, Brazil. And Terry Gilliam's best film, in my opinion. And Jonathan Pryce's best film, in my opinion. And it's 2.5 hours, and it just really speeds by. And it's one of those movies that I was so upset when it was over, because you just want to stay in this world, and the ending is fantastic. And it's another come and see type of movie where it's like, how did they even make this? It's just insane to think about how much work went into a film like this, and that it actually paid off and made something so beautiful and fantastic. And just fantastic social commentary, fantastic set design, cinematography, music, you name it, this movie has it. I'd call Brazil, if I rewatch Brazil another time, it will definitely go into my top 4. It's just really, I get so excited thinking about it. It's so good. Brazil, yeah. Ah! So yeah, I hope I can't talk anymore. I hope you all enjoyed the video of me talking about movies that everybody already owns on Criterion. I love all of these movies. I love my viewers, even though I don't have many. But I love my 20 subscribers, and I love this shelf, and I can't wait to buy more Criterions, even though they're so expensive. But they're really good, and I've loved every movie I've bought from them. And I hope you have gotten a few recommendations. I hope you guys are enjoying Inside Llewyn Davis, because that's the one you guys are probably most likely to watch, that or Frances Ha. But I do. I love all of these movies. I hope you, yeah. I literally, I can't talk anymore. Subscribe for more. Like, or don't like. Give it a dislike. I don't care. I just released a crappy experimental short film, and it got a dislike, and honestly, that was the most honest thing anybody said about it. Yeah. Thank you for watching, and I'm gonna go watch a movie or drink water.